I've taken some time to realize a lot about what went wrong between the two of us. And I see now why you were disappointed in me. It's how they feel about you. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. This person can see clearly now. There's so much that they didn't see because of the distractions. It could have been like the perception of those around them, such as friends and family, especially. They were easily influenced by certain perspectives on relationships. And there's times where they admit they share too much and they allowed individuals that had nothing to do with the two of you to sway their perspective. They feel like they had a weakness in that sense because they just wanted things to be their way. So they had a tendency to just lean towards whoever basically said what they wanted to hear and stroke their ego. Okay, so now I'm also picking up on the fact that when you were speaking and you expressed yourself to this person, they didn't really respond in a way where they showed that they understood what you meant and that they even cared. Okay, but in the beginning, I feel like it was different. You saw an aspect of them that you actually appreciated and maybe even adored. I just heard adored. That aspect of them, the one that you fell in love with, slowly began to disappear. And it's like, who are you now? Who is this person? And it's like you were sleeping with a stranger. It got to that point where you didn't even feel like you knew this person at all. And it's crazy how such a thing could happen when two people grow apart or just stop understanding each other, or one stops understanding the other, and then the other one is just completely turned off to the point of disgust. And it's like, I just don't want this anymore. Okay, and I feel like you were the one that was disgusted by this person's energy because it began to feel mundane and useless to even try to express the truth about how you felt when it comes to this person. You didn't even think that they heard because they weren't trying to hear. For this particular person, they heard what you said, but they just wanted to continue to do what they did. They didn't care to make an adjustment or to recognize their wrongs or even talk to you about how you felt about them to address it. They didn't do any of that. So they kind of just left you in your own thoughts without rectifying the situation or correcting possibly if you thought something that was not. They didn't clear anything up for you. They didn't make it easy. They made things very difficult. And that was their intentions, because the more difficult they make communicating with you, the more they can ignore the serious conversation and delay improvement. Before you know it, you're completely tapped out of the situation and you don't even care anymore. And they started to realize that, and then they felt your wrath. That was the moment they felt your wrath, when you stopped caring. Because you were tapped out. You didn't have any more energy to give. There was nothing else left that you can give. You tried your best, but you know better. You know, there came a point where you're like, I know better. What is the sense of me continuing to try with someone who is not even putting in effort for themselves, or me, or the relationship, if you look at it as a whole? So you kept reaching for the person that you fell in love with, but that person slowly began to disappear and wither away as if they never existed. And then you think, where's the person that I fell in love with? I don't even see you in there anymore. Where did you go? Have you been taken? Is this just a shell of you? Is how you were feeling. So it's like, at this point, you were no longer interested. And eventually you walked away. Now, After you're long gone, they're thinking like, I see now. It took them time to mature. They were too young-minded. When somebody is stuck in that young mind, but they're a grown person, okay, but it's like a teenager stuck in an adult body. So their mind has not matured. But if you look and take a glance at them, they look like a grown person, but mentally they are not. And now they're thinking, I left. The aspect of me that you fell in love with, or the layer of me that you fell in love with, I allowed it to be buried. And I allowed another way to take over me, because that's exactly what it feels like. They allowed someone's ways, like someone else's ways, to take over their own. So they were no longer acting like themselves because they lost themselves in the midst of different ideologies. And the ones that they thought served the purpose of clout or gave the best reaction from friends and family and even strangers, that's what they wanted to go towards, because they weren't thinking so much about their own soul's growth and their own well-being and their own personal relationships. They were more so thinking about, it feels like a shock factor, like just being interesting, but for toxic reasons. Not really interesting because you learn something new and you have something that you could teach someone. You have a word that you can give someone to help them along the way. They chose the other route. They went the other way to choose like this toxic way of being in which they found drew attention, but it wasn't the best attention. But at that point, it feels like they were so needy for just attention and to be liked that they didn't care what type of attention it was. They felt like all attention was good attention. And this is the reason why you made the best decision from leaving them alone, because they would only drag you deeper and deeper into the ditch that they lie in. And that's not where you want to be. You've already walked through your darkness to find the light, and now it's their turn. And you actually became the catalyst to that, because if you didn't leave, they would have still been doing the same thing. It's only because you left and you moved on that they learned that they needed to grow, and now they're starting their journey now, even if they are an adult. It took many years, but it feels like they are thankful that you even left them, because they know that if you didn't, they wouldn't have had anything to reflect on, because they would have just chalked it up as, it's fine for me to treat you that way because you're still here, so you must enjoy it. So kudos to you for walking away from a situation that was not going to improve. It was just going to get worse. Once you realized that, you made the move for you, and that was the best thing for you to do. So that is it for this message. If you deem this energy as suitable to continue to walk with you on your spiritual journey, drop it down in the comments below. 8888, I declare this is an aspect of my love. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're feeling my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. To book a healthy conversation, you can by visiting www.milkhoneyrose.org. Thank you for listening. Thanks again for being here. And also, you can join the membership here on YouTube to gain access to additional content. And I'll see you in the next one.